I would like to hand the mic over to Katrina to catch us all up on what's happening in the world of development and DevOps at Amazon.
Thank you. All right. It is my pleasure to be here. So thank you very much for the invitation, JD. I hope you all can hear me okay. And for those of you who know Joe and Tim, just real quick shout out. Joe is my husband, so Tim's my son. So they're here as well. I appreciate that. All right, so this is me, Katrina Mulliken. I have been doing this a long time and have been in Huntsville a long time. So after you hit about 25 years, I kind of quit counting. So been in the IT industry over 25 years, been married over 25 years, been in Huntsville over 25 years. But I have been at AWS for the past 2.5 years. So I started as a solutions architect supporting our partners. So I know this meetup is sponsored by Tech Systems. I actually supported Tech Systems as a partner solutions architect for a while, along with some other partners. And now I support our global media and entertainment customers directly. So that is a little bit about me. Of course, I live in the area. And fun fact, I was the first solution architect hired by AWS in the state of Alabama. So very cool. All right. So we have an annual event, massive conference at AWS. It's called ReInvent. It's every year. It's in Las Vegas. Anybody, have you happened to have heard of it or been to ReInvent? At least have heard of it. Okay. So this attempt for the next 20 or 25 minutes is super quick, right? But I'm going to bring you all of the latest and greatest developer and DevOps announcements from that conference. So you don't have to go to Las Vegas and worry about losing money at the tables or anything. You can just stay right here and hear these announcements. So that's the purpose of tonight. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to continue the discussion afterwards. But this is to kind of whet your appetite with some things that are services that are available in AWS, Amazon Web Services, specifically for this crowd, right? Developers and DevOps. And then at the end of this presentation, I'm going to touch on GovCloud as well, because I know all of you, this is DevOps for defense. So I know that a lot of work you do would be appropriate more in GovCloud. But we're just going to start with the general announcements first. Some of this will be work that you probably do right now, and some of it will be brand new. But like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know afterwards. So the very first service I would love to talk about is Cloud Development Kit. This is the CDK. This is all about infrastructure as code. So CDK, and now in version 2, which was the announcement at reInvent, is all about defining your code in your favorite programming language, your favorite comfortable IDE. If you're a Python person, great. If you have other languages that you're comfortable in, you can use those as well, like TypeScript, Java, C#, and even Go is available in preview. So lots of options, but the point is you use your favorite language, define your cloud environment, and then it gets synthesized for you by the tool into CloudFormation. So CloudFormation is the AWS native way to define your infrastructure as code and then deploy it. A lot of folks don't like to write natively in CloudFormation. It's kind of an art form a little bit and very long definitions of everything that you're deploying. So it's easier to see that in your favorite language. So with version 2, we have a consolidated construct library called AWS CDK Lib. And this allows you to, it's basically a single package and eliminates the need to download individual packages for each service. So in version 1, you had to bring in individual AWS services into your code. And now with the consolidated construct library, you don't have to do that anymore. It also includes productivity improvements like API reference refresh with code snippets throughout, and something that we call CDK Watch, which is for faster interloop development iterations on the code in your project. It also has a new assertions library for automated unit tests. So just point being, it's changed, it's evolved a little bit, and now it's in version 2. Definitely worth checking out if you're interested in deploying cloud resources using your favorite native programming language. And here's a little bit more about the Construct Hub. So CDK constructs are cloud architecture building blocks and patterns that you use to set up like a complete production-ready cloud application. The Constructs is a one-stop destination for finding, reusing, and sharing constructs that are authored by AWS, our partners, and third parties, as well as the developer community. So everyone contributes to these construct hubs. The library includes documentation and API reference and code samples in TypeScript, Python, and .NET. There's links in here, and you will be able to have those because the PDF of this is going to be distributed. So you'll be able to see those later and try some of this out if you so desire. All right. Amazon Code Guru is a developer tool powered by machine learning that uses intelligent recommendations to detect security vulnerabilities and improve your code quality. It can identify your most expensive lines of code as well. So that's called Code Guru. And the announcement is that Code Guru Reviewer now searches your Java and Python code base for any hard-coded secrets that you may have accidentally left in there. It can pinpoint locations in your code of usernames, passwords, database connection strings, tokens, API keys, things like that from AWS or other service providers. When a secret is found, the Code Guru Reviewer provides an actionable recommendation for you. And it will link over to AWS Secrets Manager, which is one of our services available to actually store the secret with a point-and-click experience. So in other words, you shouldn't have put it in your code. You should, best practice, put it somewhere else. We offer Secrets Manager for that, but at least you'll know that it's there. So that you can imagine combining that with the power of automation to make sure that your code is safe. And now we have, do we have any Terraform fans in the room? Woo! All right, cool. This next announcement is related to Terraform. AWS Control Tower that you see there is the easiest way to set up and govern a secure multi-account AWS environment. But now we're introducing Account Factory for Terraform, so AFT, which is designed to provide you the ability to use Terraform-based account provisioning pipelines to provision and customize your accounts in Control Tower. So AFT can support Terraform Cloud, Terraform Enterprise, Terraform Open Source, and provides the ability to trigger account creation as well as to modify accounts that you already have. And you also have the ability to add your own customizations, such as additional guardrails. Here's a fun one. You can manage your AWS resources from Slack with the AWS Chat Bot. Any Slack fans in the room? Maybe, okay. So if you're using Slack, this is available in preview. You'll notice at the bottom of the slides, some of these say preview and some say GA for general availability. This one is in preview, but you can use AWS Chat Bot to securely run CLI commands from Slack to manage your resources and remediate any issues in your cloud workload. So you can do things like scale EC2, which is our compute platform. You can scale those instances up or down. You can run runbooks to manage your systems. And you can change, if you're using our serverless compute service called Lambda, if you're familiar with that, you can change your Lambda concurrency limits, all from Slack. So this is a step in the direction of not having to have those management tools open, the AWS tools open, and interfacing with those from other productivity tools. So a really cool, exciting step in that direction. All right, and that brings us to AWS Amplify. It's something that you may not have heard of. It's used to build full stack web and mobile apps complete with authentication, storage, and data. Apps can be connected to new and existing AWS resources with just a few lines of code. You don't have to be a cloud ninja to know what you're connecting to. You simply add the code to your app. This is available in preview as well. And the announcement is not Amplify. The announcement is Amplify Studio. So Amplify Studio is available in preview. It extends the Amplify with a visual development environment for creating those apps. So minimal coding, you can select from dozens of React components and buttons like forms and marketing templates and customize those to fit your style guide. Amplify Studio exports all of your UI and infrastructure artifacts as code. So pretty cool if you're into mobile and mobile app development. All right. Now we're going to talk about new SDKs for Kotlin, Swift, and Rust. When I say that, is that is that ringing any bells? Okay, you may or may not be familiar with these, but you know what? We're here, we're having a good time. We're going to learn a little something tonight. So these might come up for you in the future. Kotlin, Swift, and Rust. Here's a basic description of each. So the SDK for Kotlin is in developer preview. This enables developers to build a wide variety of apps in the Kotlin language with AWS services. So in this release, we're supporting 284, that's a lot, 284 AWS services are supported, like S3, DynamoDB, and Lambda, just to name a few. The SDK provides automatic configurations when running in environments like EC2 and Lambda, built-in retry support, and a wide variety of authentication mechanisms to meet your needs. I know that's a little vague, but the idea here is to plant the seed and have you come, and I'm happy to follow up and go into more detail on any of that, but that's all about Kotlin. Then we have Swift. The SDK for Swift is designed from the ground up to provide idiomatic support for Swift's syntax, multi-platform capabilities, and feature extensions to take advantage of the new concurrency features. So if you're a Swift user, you may be excited about the new concurrency features, and the SDK helps you take advantage of that. The initial release supports iOS, Mac, and Linux with support for other platforms like tvOS, watchOS, and Windows coming in the near future. And we support 268 services for Swift through the SDK. And last but not least, we have Rust. This uses the Rust language features in an SDK. So it integrates with libraries in the Rust ecosystem and supports 288 services, such as the ones we mentioned before, EC2 and Lambda. So just be aware that these are in preview if you'd like to try them out. All right, that brings us to CloudWatch RUM. Gotta love that one. Real user monitoring, RUM. So CloudWatch is the way that we keep an eye on metrics and logs, what's happening in your cloud account, So real user monitoring collects and views client-side data about your web application performance from actual user sessions in near real time. So the data that you can visualize includes like page load times, client-side errors, and user behavior. When you view the data, you can see it all aggregated together, and you can see a breakdown by the browsers that your customers use and the devices that they connect with. So to get started, you register your app, you add a snippet of JavaScript to the header of each page of your app, and you deploy it. The snippet runs as users step through each page of your application and sends the data to RUM for consolidation and analysis. You can use that on its own, or you can use it in conjunction with some other tools, such as Service Lens or X-Ray, which I don't go into in this presentation, but that's a little bit about RUM. Containers. The next couple of announcements have to do with containers. Woo! All right. So containers. The first one, and I have a sticker for this in the swag pile over there. Amazon ECR, Elastic Container Registry. So that is not new, but the announcement is that now that supports pull-through cache repositories. So you can push container images to ECR. How it works is you push container images there without installing or scaling any infrastructure, and then you pull the services out with any management tool. You can share and download the images securely over HTTPS with automatic encryption and access controls. So using this new pull-through cache feature, you can cache public images for the first time. So instead of your own, Docker images, you can go and cache the public ones, which is huge because in the past, that was several steps involved to access those. And now you can cache them in the ECR registry and leverage all the benefits of ECR without the operational burden of syncing those public images. So cool. Sticking with containers, and you notice these are in general availability now, these things. AWS Marketplace for Containers Anywhere. That's kind of a mouthful, but you'll find over 500 vetted container apps in the marketplace. You can manage upgrades with a few clicks and track all of your licenses and bills in one place. You can discover commercial and open source Kubernetes-based apps from independent software vendors, ISVs, and deploy them into your Kubernetes environment in minutes. So you get those from the marketplace. And you'll have all the same benefits if you're familiar with the marketplace already. It's been out for a long time at AWS, but benefits like consolidated billing, flexible payment options, and lower pricing if you want to use a long-term contract. So that's where you can go to find your container images. And now this one is for everybody, not just developers. AWS Repost. This is a free AWS managed Q&A service on the internet, offering crowdsourced, expert reviewed answers to all of your questions about AWS. The service replaces what we used to call AWS forums. If you've ever gone out there, sometimes when you Google search for an answer, that you'll see that it came from the website, had AWS forums in it. This is the replacement for that. Community members can earn reputation points and build up their status and expert status by providing accepted answers and reviewing answers from others. So anything from a simple question about AWS to a lot more detailed question about a topic can be found on Repost. Almost done. I wanted to bring this up because some of the services I've shown are available in GovCloud and some are not. And that list is constantly changing and evolving. But because we have a lot of government and defense people here, I wanted to point out the fact that operating your DoD workloads in AWS GovCloud, and this is the intent is not to explain every dot, every rectangle that you see over there in the picture, but the point is it's a complete architecture that is available at the link shown, and you'll get that link. It's a one-click deployment, which means it's been vetted and written by AWS. You can access this with one click and get a secure, scalable, multi-account environment in GovCloud based on our best practices. So instead of someone saying, hey, here's GovCloud, good luck, and you're having to set everything up from scratch, you deploy this, you're going to get everything that's shown in that diagram there. It's architected to follow DISA cloud computing security requirements for hosting impact level 4 and 5 workloads in the cloud. And the architecture baseline accommodates US federal and DoD requirements to rapidly achieve ATO, or authority to operate. So things like this are available for you in AWS as well. And although today's presentation, it was all about developers and DevOps and trying to bridge all of this together, that might be worthy of a presentation just on its own. So we're happy to come back and do that as well. But just kind of to wrap things up, in addition to the links that you saw in the slides, I have a few other resources for you here that you're going to get from the PDF. DevOps practitioners, the reInvent conference I talked about, you can still go. It sounds funny. It was in December, but you can still go to the website, sign up for an account, and virtually attend it, meaning you can watch the keynotes, you can watch the sessions that were recorded. So that's kind of cool. Just do that on your own at that link. There's a blog if you don't want to have to watch all the videos and just want to read. There's a blog that has all of the top announcements, not just developers and DevOps, but networking and compute and all different things, databases, you name it. Also, I included some links for you all about the GovCloud at the bottom. So you can keep up with how many regions we have now and how that's progressing and which services are available. Local and regional AWS happenings. There's a Huntsville AWS meetup. If you haven't been, check it out. There's also Birmingham AWS meetup that's virtual. So you can attend that virtually each month. And the CyberNow Summit is just now being formed, but AWS is a key sponsor of that event. It's coming in May. I will be there, and we're actually going to run what we call a jam, which is super exciting. There'll be some regular education sessions where you're sitting and just kind of observing and doing a few labs, and the jam is gamified. So you're going to form teams, try to get points, outdo each other, and you're going to be given an AWS account. The levels are easy to medium, so it's okay. And you'll have several hours to just sit there and try to rack up the most number of points by following the instructions. So that is happening at the CyberNow Summit. You would have to pay for attending the summit, and then you would be eligible to come to those AWS sessions. There'll also be a 45-minute session at that summit on the second day, just to dive into some security related announcements. But thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. That's my email. You can also just catch me afterwards, and I'd be more than happy to dive into any of this.
Thank you, Katrina. So I'm wondering, what if I go into the jam and I win the most, I get the most points, what do I win?
I'm still working on that. More than stickers. We're gonna have some cool prizes.
Okay, cool.
Maybe medals and trophies. So we'll see.
Something for the
There
mantle
could be
place.
something to come back and put in a cube or something like that. Yeah.
So to take a lot of what Katrina's talked about and just sort of drive it home as to, how does that work and what does it mean for us? When you look at where things are going in the government, and you look at where things are going in industry writ large, if you look in the commercial space, it was probably 4 or 5 years ago, it became obvious that if you wanted to be successful in the commercial marketplace, you needed to move to the cloud fairly quickly. And we see the government kind of now getting on board and getting behind that. And they're starting to move things into that cloud. They do that because it takes a whole lot of burden off of them, a lot of responsibility that the government really doesn't have to deal with anymore. They can just pay somebody to do it. And the fact that I can run a server in something like AWS for a year for the cost of a cup of coffee at Starbucks is pretty impressive just in terms of return on investment. And so what's happening in the government and the intelligence community is really leading the charge in this. And now more and more in the DoD, we're seeing more and more things start to transition into cloud environments. And it's really that return on investment that's driving it. The government's trying and should work to spend more money building mission capability than managing infrastructure. And so when we look at what does this mean for us, what does this mean for people who build infrastructure? It means now is a great time to really get engaged and start learning about these technologies and how to make them relevant and productive in our environments, because we are going to start seeing that transition across the board in more and more DoD environments. So it's really important for those of us who live here and work in supporting Redstone Arsenal here in Huntsville. But it's important across the board. And so, Katrina, thank you for coming out and giving us some pointers on what's going on in that world. So we've got a handful of resources I'll leave you with on the screen. If anyone would like, we do have lean coffee set up here. I'm sure Katrina would be amenable to sitting down and working through some topics of your choosing in that forum. We do have the book club continuing. If you remember, we handed out Sooner, Safer, Happier in December. If you've been going through that and would like to discuss it, I would love to discuss it with you as well. So that's an option as well. Otherwise, we do have some live music starting up here shortly. And so please enjoy that as well and enjoy each other. Thank you all for coming out.